So with this being a growth strategy podcast, and
Yeah,
although I know the answer, I think it's really useful and just interesting to talk about for people that don't. You provide cutting tools and different consumables for machine shops.
yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
And then when did vending machines come in and the concept around that? That actually, in theory, for everyone else, you hold stock on premises at the
yeah,
client so they get it instantly. I just thought
yeah,
it's a
yeah, yeah.
brilliant move.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be. I put me first. We put our first vending solution in 14 years ago.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And the idea was that we live in a world. If you take the automotive world, we live in a world of just in time, and this took it to a level where it's 24/7. It's immediate
Yeah. Yeah.
delivery. So you go to the vending machine, you log in to the computer, you select the item you want, it releases it, and then you continue production. So and we have over 50 installations now around the Northeast, all similar configuration. They're all different because they're all bespoke, built for the customer's requirements.
Okay.
But yeah, the first one I put in was 14 years ago. And interestingly, it's still there now today, operating exactly the same with a new computer on, of course, but still working.
Because what's interesting, so people rave about Amazon next day delivery, just as a prime example.
Yeah.
But this was 14 years ago, instant delivery. And it's
We
just
do it.
it's
Yeah,
mind blowing
it's
in some
now.
ways. Just,
Oh, it's now. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
I
yeah,
think there's a
absolutely.
lot of industries that could implement something similar. Off the top of my head, but it's almost where I just think it's really clever strategies to differentiate yourself, and then for ACT as well, because I guess it's a competitive market. How else does the company? I guess you differentiate yourselves from everyone else.
Yeah, so we've got obviously the vending solution, the stock that we have. We've got our own logistics team that do same and next day delivery every day, and they fill the vending machines up so the customer just takes what he needs. We've got a full-on tooling engineering service. So we've got several engineers who are all about it. The important bit, really, the getting the product and using it is fine, but these lads make sure they use the right product at the right technical data and therefore maximise the efficiency and profitability. And then a few years ago, we opened a oil division, headed up by a specialist. And that is because customers use cutting tools and then they put oil on them to make them perform correctly. So if your oil's not right, the tools don't perform. And then behind that, we've got all the digital things coming along to help people buy things digitally or manage things digitally, whether it's the vending machine or the oil portal. And so we're actually more of a service business when I look at what we provide to customers on the fly, daily, weekly. And the tooling, is how we make our money. That's the byproduct of the service, really.
Because it's also the added value from the knowledge.
Yeah.
So one of the big things, just for people that might not know, is almost that when you run a cutting tool or a drill or whichever, the speed that you run it and the way that you program it, and there's so much knowledge to it that has a massive difference in performance. So it's not a case of just buying the piece of kit and plugging it in and pressing go. There's a lot to it, and it's that added value that you can bring and your team bring that I guess when it comes to, because I do really like the ACT kind of branding and stuff.
It's a science, Steve. It's a science. People think, we do training with customers and we ask them out work speeds and feeds out, and they all, or a lot of them, hold their finger up and go, well, I would start at about. And we have to remind them there's actually a science and a calculation that tells you don't need to start at about. It'll tell you exactly what to run it at, So yeah, but that's what the engineers go and do all the time.
But I think part of that is because you started on the tools, the craft, it inside out. And it's that you can't fake, if that makes sense. Because again, when you're looking at competing and about, solving problems and doing stuff, and there'll always be someone from China or somewhere that in theory will provide the same drill bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But the real value comes in knowing how to use it and the service and the interaction. And I just think it's really important to kind of drill at home for anyone that does their own business, regardless of what it is.
Yeah. We have a bit of a mantra here about it doesn't matter what the brand is, it depends what you do with it that counts. You can buy any tool. They're all good tools. There's no doubt about it. But knowing the right way to apply it and get the best out of it, that's the key. And that comes with expertise and knowledge,